Is this that JPP podcast?
Ooh, yay! Finally! Oh, which Christmas song is not as innocent as we thought it was? How do you define taco? What mistake did Kevin and Pops make this week? The guys get into the college football playoff, NFL public relations, and more this week on Just Press Play. Now bring on the bells!
The red wasp is excavated. Pregnant ladies and little kids better get the hell out of the way, because I am running. I'm like Forrest Gump, dude. I am running. So, the Titanic was the biggest ship on the ocean, but that didn't mean it was unsinkable. Okay. All right. I want you each to use ombudsman in a sentence next week. I got one for you. My name is Kevin, the official ombudsman of the Just Press Play podcast. You like apples?
All right, welcome back to another week of the Just Press Play podcast. We took a little half week. Me and LJ took the week off last week, and Pops and Uncle Tony held down the fort for an episode. But we got the crew back. What's up, Pops? What's up, El?
What's up? Not much. What's up? Glad to be here.
It's only been a week, but it seems like it's been forever since we've recorded.
Yeah, it does.
I did want to mention today, we're recording this on December 2nd. It is finally December. So now I think it is okay to let the Christmas music flow, get your lights up, get your tree up, do it all. I mean, I get the people that go a little early, but some people get a little overzealous about it. And I see me and LJ are rocking some Christmas sweaters right now. Yeah. I know you can't see us on the radio. LJ's even got a Santa hat on.
Yes,
so we got the
you got the festive mood, the holiday mood going.
Well, and
absolutely.
Here's the deal. I hear you, Kevin, with your December thing. Hannah's all about her mindset is the day after Thanksgiving, but really it's basically when November starts. She starts getting in the mood. So, I'm just going to have to deal with it, and that's fine. So,
well, and I've actually, Hannah's brought this we had this conversation over Thanksgiving, and she said her mindset is if she wants to listen to Christmas music and it's July, then damn it, I'm going to put some Christmas music on.
Yep, she watches the Muppet Christmas all year.
And I get that. I worked in the mall at one point a few years back, and they played Christmas music. We were right behind Santa Claus, and so I had to listen to the same playlist every day for 5 weeks straight. And so now I don't let the music start until December hits, and then I'm all game.
I'm with you guys. I mean, I'm okay with Christmas music. I don't hate on it or anything like that. But I mean, truly, if you're going to go early, at least wait till the week of Thanksgiving. I'm saying at least wait till the week of Thanksgiving. I can almost handle that. And December's better. But I mean, the 1st of November, that's just too much.
The other thing is, I swear there's only 7 Christmas songs. There's just you hear the same ones over and over and over again. And the 12 Days of Christmas in particular is torture, in the worst way possible. So, that's where if people could start writing more Christmas songs or holiday songs, then I'd be down for it. If we do what we're listening to, I might have something to throw in for newer Christmas songs. But,
okay. All right. Well, that's what you call a tease, folks.
Tease it
in the business.
Hey, I might have a what we're listening to for Christmas music.
Okay.
That is. Yeah. Well, I can bring that.
Can we get Truth to add some jingle bells to our intro?
Since we're talking about a little bit teases, I actually also on what we're listening to, I have a request from Dad. Once we get there, I got something I'm going to request from you, and it'll be interesting. I think you'll be up for the challenge. But
all right, cool. Let's
get on to it. Speaking of, we were recording this on Sunday afternoon, December 2nd, and so the playoff committee for college football selected the 4 selections of the playoffs. And of course, it's going to come with some controversy.
Oh, yeah.
And they selected number 1, Bama. Obviously, they've been number 1, I think, all year, and they're always number 1. Whatever.
I mean, FanDuel just paid out their bets on Bama, right? Did you see that?
There was something. Do you know what that was? I just saw the headline.
What was it?
My understanding is anybody that put money on Alabama to win the national championship through, I think it was FanDuel, is already getting paid as if they won. Already, as of yesterday. Because their premise is they look good enough. The chances of them losing are pretty slim. And then also the people that have stuck with putting that much money on somebody to win that little, they're like, yeah, you can have it, whatever. Like, because they already put the odds essentially as they're going to win. So, it's hard to make even a
seems
doubt.
odd.
What
to
if
just
they
concede
don't?
it.
I mean,
yeah.
Then they'll have given up some money, but then they also got a lot of goodwill because they're that people that give out early or whatever. A lot of people are going to take those
I guess
stupid
it's
odds
a
here on
PR
out.
maybe.
Yeah.
Just
But
in
I
case.
mean, and we'll probably get to this, but Georgia kind of gave them a game, didn't they?
Oh yeah, and they did last
So-
year too.
Well,
This is
and-
nothing new.
Yeah.
So,
But that might be why you go shop at MyBookie for your betting because they're gonna do how you do. So
speaking of you mentioned Georgia. Georgia got left out. They were number 5, but let's go down the
They
list. We
did.
got Bama
Okay.
number 1, the 13-0 SEC champs. Clemson number 2, 13-0 ACC champs, and then Notre Dame got the number 3 because they're also undefeated at 12-0. They don't have to play a conference championship because they're Notre
Cheaters.
Dame and they get to make their own damn
Right.
rules. We might get into this in a second, and then Oklahoma slipped in at number 4 as the 12-1 Big 12 champs. Over Ohio State was number 6. They were also conference champs. And it was kind of the committee. It was interesting because a lot of people were saying, should Georgia get in? Because Georgia looks like probably the 4th best team, maybe even the 3rd best team behind Clemson and Bama.
mm-hmm.
But it's hard. I get them putting Oklahoma in as a Big 12 champion over Georgia. And we've kind of seen this song and dance before. Georgia's had their
We
shot
just saw
to
it.
beat.
Yeah.
The only thought that I had on it was I kind of mentioned a second ago, it just bugs the hell out of me that Notre Dame doesn't have to play a conference schedule. That drives me insane. I've always kind of disliked Notre Dame. I don't know why, but it just drives me insane. They get to create, they don't have like Bama plays LSU every year. It doesn't matter whether LSU is good or not. They play them every year, and it switches home and away. And then Notre Dame gets to choose who they want. I know they usually play USC and they play Virginia Tech and they play a decent schedule, but it just drives me crazy that they can make their own schedule and not have to play that.
Did they have?
Like
do you know?
everyone
Is their
else does.
strength of schedule very tough this year? Did they play many ranked teams or?
Interestingly, their strength of schedule came in at number 61.
Wow.
So they did not, and most of that I will give a little bit of credit to. A lot of that has to do with they played like we said, they play USC every year. USC is just not very good this year.
Yeah.
I think they might have played. They did play Michigan early in the year and beat
Stanford.
Michigan. That was a good
Didn't
win.
they play
They played
Stanford?
Stanford. Stanford ended up having a down year. So some of the teams that are usually decent, they lost to, but it's just annoying. I just don't like that they don't. They're the only team that's independent.
I want to pipe in a little bit about that, though. You're right. I don't think you can fault Notre Dame. They play a pretty legit schedule. I mean, they don't try to shirk good teams, but you're right. They had off years. Several of those teams that are typically pretty good had off years. And I will say, though, Notre Dame used to always be in the top 5 ranked, and they're not so much anymore. So I wonder if them not playing in a conference has actually hurt them, because Notre Dame has not been this successful in some time. And the last time they were in a big game, they got hammered, I think, by it Alabama?
Yeah.
I think it was.
10
So-
or 12 years ago, it was Notre Dame was out of the top 5 constantly because USC was the best team in the nation. So every year they played near the end of the schedule and they would just fall out of the rankings. And this year, lately they have. I agree with you. I think it helps and hurts. I think it just depends on the year whether being in a conference is good or bad. It's just weird that they're the only ones that can do it. That's just such a strange situation that.
It's just sweet for them that they're like this past weekend. They are at home. They were 12-0. They're number 3. There's no way they can lose. So they've pretty much got their playoff spot locked in while Clemson's playing, which Clemson handled Pittsburgh, but they still have another game, an ACC championship, where they could slip up and lose. And if Clemson loses that game, they're probably not in the playoffs. And I just think that's a little dumb. Speaking of undefeated teams, though, UCF once again has gone undefeated, and they did not make the playoffs. They got ranked at number 8. Do y'all have any issue with this?
I mean, yes. Yeah. I mean, so my issue with it is that they have a chance to be the best team in the nation, but we'll never get to see it because they don't necessarily play tough enough teams. That's my biggest problem with this college football playoff system. I think we've talked about over the holiday, Kevin, if I were the commissioner of any major league, then I'd probably ruin it for most of the fans.
Yeah.
And so my thinking is the college football playoff is not super great because you're always going to have 3 or 4 teams that deserve to be in there that miss it, unless you go up to like 64 teams and you just go with the top 64 in the preseason rankings and then just let them play the playoffs for the rest of the year. I mean, there's no good way to do it. So there's always going to be somebody left out. So yeah, it sucks Central Florida got left out, but at some point you just got to draw a line, So.
Pops.
Kevin, I'm trying to look up UCF's strength of schedule.
They were. I had it looked up earlier. They were below Notre Dame, sitting around like 86 or so. So they are not very good. But part of that, the one thing I will credit them to is they do play in a conference, and they just play their conference who it is. It's not like Notre Dame where it's independent and they kind of can pick and choose a lot of those games.
Yeah.
But it's just the one thing. So personally, I don't really have much of an issue with it because I don't think so. If you put UCF at 4, I think Bama rolls them by 40.
Probably.
But
you can't know that. That's the problem.
You can't know that. And it just thinks, so last year they got to the Sugar Bowl, I think it was, and they lost to Auburn, or they beat Auburn in the Sugar Bowl. So they beat an SEC team. There was some of that talk like one team's happy to be there, one's not, blah, blah, blah. But then you had a lot of the people that were on the side of don't let UCF in because they don't play anybody that were like, if they do this again next year, we'll view it a little different. And then what'd they do? They went and did it again. They played 13 games and they won all 13. And it just basically you're telling a group of guys, everyone that's not in a Power 5 conference, you're telling all those kids, no matter what you do this regular season, you can't make the playoffs. And that kind of sucks.
And this was the exact thing that the playoffs were supposed to fix. I remember that the reason the playoffs existed was because Boise State got left out every year. And so this was supposed to be the solution of Boise State getting a shot. And now we've got a Boise State in Central Florida, and they're not getting a shot. So
now the advocates to that would be, instead of playing, South Carolina State and Florida Atlantic and some of these and SMU's and some of these teams, actually I think SMU might be in their conference, but some of these games that were against not very good opponents, because obviously their conference games are not that impressive. They just don't play in a tough conference in the American Conference, but they could have maybe scheduled a Notre Dame or a Clemson, or tried to at least. They didn't play any. I mean,
but do you think Clemson wants anything to do with Central Florida? I mean, I wouldn't play that game.
They might have called. Clemson, and Clemson's like, why the hell would we play you? What do we have to gain?
We used to say when I went to UCA, we were like, we would beg for a game against U of A, right? Or like Arkansas State always wants to play University of Arkansas, but there's no way that game would ever happen because there's just taking a risk if you're the big school.
Right.
Yeah.
The big school has everything to lose.
If you're Bama and you go play UCF at week 1 or this year and Bama wins, then everyone goes, yeah, Bama did what we all thought they would. But if Bama loses, you're all right. But that's it. And now it looks like I looked at the opening lines, and Bama is a 14-point favorite over OU, and Clemson is an 11.5-point favorite over Notre Dame. So it looks like we could be heading to another rematch of Bama-Clemson in the finals.
I honestly think those are the two best NCAA football programs out there. I really do. So if it gets to that, it gets to that. Okay.
Now, speaking of Bama, can we bring up real quick, how freaking awesome was it that Jalen Hurts got in? So rewind back to a year ago in the national championship against Georgia, Jalen Hurts has a terrible first half. And then in comes this Tua, no one can pronounce his last name, Tagovailoa, and he puts on a show, wins the game, and then goes on and maybe just put on a Heisman season. And people are saying Jalen Hurts should transfer, all this and that. And he just sticks the course. Yeah. And then he comes back in and when Bama needs him the most, down 14 or something, he comes back and brings them to win the game against Georgia, who he got benched against. It was just a cool story. It was like, it's like watching Friday Night Lights, the series, when Matt Saracen came in. It was incredible. You couldn't write this stuff. It was awesome to watch. Yeah. And it was cool seeing Jalen Hurts get in and then him talking after the game and saying it was tough, but I want to stay here with my brothers, and he just waited for his chance. It was cool to see. Really, it was cool to see the ultimate.
Teammate. That's what you want.
Both of them. You saw Jalen in the championship. Yeah. Pat Tua on the back and was rooting for Tua that whole second half. Not salty at all. Yeah. And then you saw the same thing. Right. Fast forward a year, you saw the same thing this past Saturday when Jalen was leading the team back. Tua's right there on the sideline rooting them on. It was cool. It was cool to see, and I was happy to see Jalen Hurts get in.
I was too.
For sure.
I thought it was cool.
Moving on to the NFL, where their controversy is a little worse than what college football playoffs. If they could choose, if they could choose the college football playoffs controversy, they would in a heartbeat. We had yet another instance where domestic violence is rearing its head in the NFL, and this one is Kareem Hunt. I'll run through it real quick for those of you who maybe didn't. I don't know how you didn't see it, but
I don't know how I would do. If you're an NFL fan, you know this, but go ahead. Yeah,
if you listen to this podcast, you probably saw it. Yeah, let's do it
anyway. In February, Kareem Hunt their police responded to a possible domestic violence assault by Kareem Hunt, and police got there
At his residence? I saw today it was at his residence.
It was at
it was at a hotel he was staying at.
Yeah, it was a Cleveland hotel he was just starting to stay at. And in his interview, he made it sound like he was staying there. It wasn't like
long-term staying at his hotel.
Yeah. Okay.
So police came, no charges were pressed, and then the NFL and Chiefs investigated it, and then nothing came out of it. He got no punishment, got no charges, and then the NFL and Chiefs didn't do anything about it. Then fast forward to this Friday. Also, keep in mind the Chiefs are having maybe their best year, and who knows when.
In years.
In a long time. Probably since I've been alive, I would think. But
they had a 9-0 year not too long ago.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But anyway. Besides the point.
They're having a hell of a year. They have Super Bowl aspirations, legitimate
Absolutely.
Super Bowl aspirations, and you cannot say that every year for the Kansas City Chiefs. So
Absolutely.
And
although it does feel like around week 6 you can.
So
Okay.
and then on Friday, TMZ, of course it's TMZ because they're the NFL killer, and they drop a video that is of the incident in February. It looks like surveillance video from the hotel, and Kareem Hunt comes out. There's an altercation going on. The woman seems to swing and maybe hit him in the face, and he shoves her and then kicks her while she's on the ground. It's not a good video. It's pretty bad. So the Chiefs send him home. He gets put on the commissioner exempt list. The Chiefs call him back in Friday night that same day, and they release him. They make a bold statement by cutting him. So I'll just start with that. Dad, what's your thoughts?
Well, a couple of things that were really wild to me. Tammy and I were doing something unrelated to football, and I saw that come across, and I had to tell her, I said, that's a big deal. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
As we discussed, the Chiefs are in a Super Bowl run in a situation they're not often in. He is a very primary cog in that offense. And I got on to look at the depth chart to see who I'm going to make sure somebody's got the backup.
Spencer
I know, and they did. The guy that had Kareem Hunt had handcuffed him, of course. But I got on to look, and all the Kansas City Chiefs depth chart showed, and this is on their official website, first string was blank, just blank.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was probably 30 minutes after I heard this. So I guess I'm getting long-winded. You can't hit girls. They did the right thing. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs did the right thing.
And I will say the Chiefs said
I don't care what she does. You can't.
The reason they cut him was because they asked him face-to-face about the incident, and they said he lied to him, which he later on Sunday in the interview admitted that, yes, I lied to him. And he credit to Kareem Hunt a little bit that he said the Chiefs did the right thing and he understands it. And he had that interview on Sunday NFL Countdown, and he seems to be really owning up to what he did. At least he's not blaming anyone and anything, which you can't. Yeah, please jump in.
Can I also? He said a lot of the right things, but the one thing that he didn't say that like kind of bummed me out was he never really admitted to what he did. He just said he knew he did something wrong. And so, it was it really felt like a lawyer told him, don't admit fault, don't admit fault, don't admit fault, because once she sues, then you're in trouble.
Okay. Yeah.
But it did feel like he was avoiding saying, I kicked her. Like she asked about the kicking and he was like, I just don't know who that guy is. And then she was like, what were you thinking? What happened? What led to that? And
he wouldn't answer what happened that led to it.
And
yeah.
He was really, he seemed somewhat coached, and it kind of bummed me out that it didn't feel super authentic, that he felt like he felt like he needed to say it so he could have a job next year more than he needed to get some off his chest. To me,
that's it. But did y'all both hear it? Did y'all hear the interview?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I didn't. I read it, and reading it, it would appear that he was very contrite, very apologetic. The reading made me feel like he is really. I was kind of on what you were saying, but if he sounded coached and rehearsed,
he didn't sound coached and rehearsed in the way that he sounded polished, but he did feel like, to me, he felt bad that he lost his job more than he had done something wrong to me. Like he felt like he needed to fix the wrong that lost him his job, which he, has said he lied to the Chiefs. That was the fault that he had. And then he also was saying things like, I'd never do that. I'm always a nice guy. I never hit a woman. And it's like, well, you do. You did.
Well,
you do.
I will say this, LJ. It's possible, and we don't know this. Kareem Hunt is not the same history of a Reuben Foster who made noise of this has been in his past before. For all we know, this is the first time, and he made a terrible. We do all make mistakes, and this was a really bad one.
Reuben Foster being signed to a team and Kareem Hunt not being signed to a team blows me away. But but that's beside the point.
I did think he was contrite and apologetic, and I kind of, and he could have been coached, but part of me thinks what if this was just he lost his temper? I'm sure. I mean, it was late at night. There was girls involved. There might have been
here's
other
the thing.
things involved, which doesn't acute. I don't want anyone to get me wrong. You never hit a woman, but maybe he didn't
never hit
realize,
somebody
and
250
this is
pounds
wrong.
lighter than you either. Like, it's not even just that she was a woman. It's the fact that essentially a human weapon attempted to assault a civilian. You know what I mean? Like, it's a totally different realm where it's not a fair fight. And so one of the things because Hannah and I watched that video together of his thing, and I really feel like what happened that night probably was because I think he's a good guy who tries hard, but I think he was drunk and some things got said and some things got done and it just really pissed him off and he just kind of lost it. And, you know, I'm not who I want to be all the time when I'm drinking, right? Like you do sometimes have those bad days, those bad reactions, whatever. But the only person to blame for that drunk LJ existing is sober LJ who let him come in. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
Well, I don't know. It didn't feel like everything I wanted to hear from him.
That's
But
what
also,
gets
that was
me
the
a
other
little
thing
bit
that
to you.
stood out to me was that this apology is not for me. Like, really, the only person that needs to feel okay about this apology is that woman, Kareem Hunt, and the Chiefs. And otherwise, you know, who cares? So I guess, you know, me weighing in doesn't mean a whole lot, but I just didn't love it.
Well, and the only here, and if y'all don't mind, I have definitely have an issue with Kareem Hunt doing what he did, and he's facing the consequences. What bothers me is not as much Kareem Hunt, which that is an issue, but it's more the NFL, and that's because we just saw this happen with Ray Rice, and we saw a couple years back, and the NFL realized they screwed up, and they tried to make up for it, and they didn't do a very good job. But at least you thought, well, hopefully they learned from their lesson. And here's what has come out since. The NFL and the Chiefs both asked for the video and didn't get it. They knew there was some sort of video. They asked and couldn't get it. Okay, whatever. The NFL then did an investigation into the matter. They didn't interview the victim or Kareem Hunt. They didn't even talk to Kareem Hunt about what had happened. And then what really gets me is they didn't obtain the video, but TMZ was able to. And so it seems like the NFL didn't really go beyond and above and beyond to try to figure out what happened. But let me remind you, when Ezekiel Elliott was possibly involved in something and the NFL wanted to prove something maybe to Jerry Jones for coming at Roger Goodell, they did a year-long investigation, hired all kinds of lawyers, they went to court, they did all this stuff. And then let's go back a few years before that when Tom Brady maybe deflated a football in a game where they won 45-7. The NFL hired a full team of attorneys who got paid for all those hours and interviewed 66 witnesses, wrote a 139-page report, then hired a team to do experiments and write an 82-page science report so they could suspend Tom Brady for 4 games for maybe deflating a football. It seems like the NFL, when there's a PR stunt or an agenda, they'll do all the investigation that they can. But when it's something like this and they're hoping it can just go away, they don't do what it just seemed like they got the story they wanted to hear, and then they didn't try to poke and figure out anymore. And that's what bothers me the most.
I think you're exactly right. I think they do try to find the story they want to hear and then move on. They cover up anything that's definitely going to make them look bad. I do think that TMZ getting the video and the NFL not doesn't mean anything to me. Because TMZ probably weren't worried about getting it through shady means. You know, if they have to pay some clerk to steal the video from the hotel, $100,000.
Right. There's some unethical things TMZ will definitely do that the NFL may not.
So I'm not worried about the NFL trying to, you know, not ending up getting the video, if that was against the hotel policy. But what I do have an issue with is I did read today, and I'll have to check into it because I just saw a headline and moved on. But the Chiefs were apparently told by the NFL not to pursue the video any longer.
That's what the Athletic reported, that the NFL told the Chiefs to quit pursuing anything. They'll take the investigation from here.
So that to me feels a little bit like, I mean, why stop the team from doing due diligence? You know, that's absolutely within their realm. So yeah, I mean, I don't love the way that football handles this stuff, or the NFL. I'm not a fan. It also sucks that there has to be video for this stuff to get taken seriously. Domestic violence is a serious issue. And there are some women that have accused of domestic violence and there's been nothing there. But either way, if this pops up, this is a serious thing. This is not right and shouldn't happen. And the fact that it takes a video to see how nasty Ray Rice's punch was or Kareem Hunt's kick is, that shouldn't be the only time we really perk up to it. I honestly didn't know Kareem Hunt even had this in February. I didn't know anything about it. Never
and
heard
that might
about
be
it.
on me.
Agreed.
Out of the blue, completely out of the blue.
But then a video pops up and the whole world knows. It just thinks that that's the way we live in today. If there's not video proof, then it might not happen. When most of domestic violence happens behind the closed door of a home where there's no video proof.
Yeah. I'll also say, just on the other side of things, that the headline of Kareem Hunt brutalizes woman and then kicks her, I feel like was a little bit extreme. I mean, I watched the video and it was not pretty, but like it looked more like he shoved his friend who fell into the woman, and the kick was a little like, it didn't look like a painful kick. It looked like an insulting kick. Like I'm not saying that any of it was okay, but that headline was so extreme and I saw it everywhere. And so,
yeah,
it definitely colored the way I saw it before I even saw it. I still came out thinking Kareem Hunt did a douchey bad thing, but, that was bad.
It's just crazy that what we saw from Kareem Hunt got him released when we saw Greg Hardy. We didn't get to see it, but there's reports of Greg Hardy possibly throwing a woman on a bed full of guns after hitting her.
Yeah.
And he was paid on the commissioner's exempt list the whole time, and then got another job with my team, the Dallas Cowboys. It's just, and then Reuben Foster's currently getting paid right now on the commissioner's exempt list. It's just
and probably won't play this year at all, but still
if there's not video, they're still getting paid millions of dollars, and it's just wild.
But that's also, I mean, that is kind of the way that the courts work, is you're supposed to have a presumption of innocence too until proven guilty. And so the fact that there is video, you can kind of lose a little bit of that presumption of innocence a little easier. And so, to some degree, that's almost like our justice system, and that's a quality of our justice system that I do appreciate. So, it's not cut and dried like this is the wrong way to be. But it is like, I don't know.
Well, now there's no good way to segue from the topic we were just having to really any topic. There's no good way for me to segue. But I have a question for you guys, and I this popped up in my head, and it's been there for the past 2 days, and I can't figure out, is there such a thing as a soft shell taco? LJ, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah. Why is that a question?
Well, no, wait. I'm kind of that too, but why do we have to know the why of the question to answer the question?
Well, no, I'm saying yes. Absolutely yes. When you go to Taco Bell, you say, do you want a crunchy or a soft taco? And I say a soft taco. And I'm happy with what I received. It feels more like a taco than a burrito. I don't understand the question at all.
I would say I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with, and they actually call them, what do they call them? Crunchy or soft.
Right.
So I think that's what they call them. They used to call them hard and soft, and I think they got away from that because that didn't sound very good. I swear to God. And then I think that's why they went from crunch to crunchy and soft. But so, yes, there's a soft taco. So why? Yeah. Well, now back to you. What LJ asked now?
Well, so really a soft shell taco. So my mom started thinking, and it wasn't necessarily, I didn't have a stance either way. I didn't have an answer, because really, to my mind, a soft shell taco is really just a poorly wrapped burrito. Because if you've ever eaten all my soft tacos, well, I will say, when I'm creating my own tacos, I stuff them with too much crap, so I can't close them. But I always attempt to wrap it all the way up.
They're more like burritos.
And it's more like a burrito, except for I can't close the back of it because there's too much crap and I spill on myself. This is just how Kevin eats, by the way.
Yeah.
But so I was trying to look up. So I was like, what is the difference between a burrito and a taco, especially a soft shell taco? And I looked it up, and just mind you, I have a Big Cheap Indian pad full of notes. I spent like an hour going through stuff.
Pop-Tart, ravioli.
Here is what I figured out. A soft shell taco is the what I read was it is the gringo distinction. In the U.S., a taco was first known as something that comes in a toasted or fried shell. That was not a normal thing. The U.S. did that crunchy taco stuff. Really, that's a tostada that is folded up. So
that makes it a taco.
Here's what the Mexican definition of a taco is.
Yeah.
Really, there's no such thing as a soft shell taco. A taco is a dish made of any kind of filling that's in a tortilla, wrapped, folded, open, squashed, corn, flour, wheat, whatever. It's just any kind of filling in a tortilla. The only distinction is it must be made on a still soft tortilla. It can be fried after the fact, but if you fry the tortilla before putting your meat, beans, cheese, whatever inside of it, then it becomes more of a tostada or different names. There's a bunch of names for that, but it's not a taco anymore. So really, and then I looked up.
So it's funny. You asked us the question, is there a soft taco? And the answer is, there's no such thing as a hard taco.
Yeah, that's what you're just telling us, aren't you?
Yeah, the answer. That's why I went down this rabbit hole, because I realized I didn't know what was going on. I don't know the right answer.
I can dig it because I can go to I'm around like 4 Mexican restaurants that are run by Mexican people, and every single one of them, if I ordered a taco, they come in little corn tortillas. There's like, I'll order a taco dinner and there'll be 3 little corn tortillas with stuff in them.
And that's a taco. That's why at first I was like, yeah, there's such thing as a soft taco. But then I started trying to just play devil's advocate in my head. And I was like, wait a minute. Is that not just a burrito? And so I was just having this whole thing. And I actually looked up a burrito, I guess, is just a form of a taco. And it's just made with an extra large tortilla, because a taco can be in a flour tortilla. And basically what I'm saying is I still don't have the answer. I still don't know. But I think, and there might be someone who is more qualified, maybe a listener of a different descent can give us the correct answer. But I don't know what a taco is. I think what I'm going to do from now on is there's no such thing as a soft shell taco or a crunchy taco. There's just a taco. And then there's what we call, as white Americans, a crunchy taco. That's a whole different thing. That's really not a taco anymore. That's just what we call it.
Right. I think you're exactly right. At least based on your own research. That sounds right to me. And with my own experience.
Did you guys know? Man, you want me to blow your mind a little more?
You know what to do next time you go to Taco Bell. I'm afraid you're going to be sitting there at the window confused.
Well, what's going to end up happening?
I just want to stop thinking.
What's going to end up happening?
Can you take a tortilla thing and put something in it?
Can you fry it before and then also give me one that's been fried after?
I'm going to leave the bar one night at 2 a.m. and go to Taco Bell, and me and the drive-thru person are going to have a 20-minute conversation on whether that's a taco or not. And the whole line's going to be backed up to I-30.
All the guys behind you. Yeah, you better buy everybody's behind you when you're done.
Also, in my research, I also found this out. Let me lay this on you. Did you know the translation for a burrito is little donkey? Because burro in Spanish is donkey. And they call a burrito a little donkey because it looks somewhat similar to a donkey's ear.
Yep.
Did y'all know this? I had no idea about this.
I looked it up because at one point I saw like the little burrito and I thought, wait a second, doesn't Ito mean little? So this is surely, and then I thought about it. And so I ended up with that and I looked it up. But I found that out. I'm with you.
Oh, see, of course, LJ's like the random facts person. As we've already said, we just ask LJ a random question. He knows why we shorten Richard
anything
the Dig.
Useful
he knows why
to
we
go to
call
someone
him
else, but
we mentioned it a little earlier, and we talked about some Christmas music, and I've noticed I have a hard time saying Christmas music. I kind of just mix it into one word. Have y'all noticed that? I've been just going
say it again.
Christmas. Well, now I'll probably say it right, but I catch myself every time going Christmas music, and like I don't pause in between the muss and music, and it just goes Christmas music. Some Christmas music. It's just a Kevin issue. But before I go down that rabbit hole, did you see that a Cleveland radio station, WDOK, in fact, is the name, they are banning the song Baby It's Cold Outside in support of the Me Too movement that's been going on. And at first I was like, oh, come on. And I've heard this before and I haven't put much thought into it. And I did listen to the lyrics. There is kind of a rapey vibe to the song Baby It's Cold Outside.
I mean, Hannah and I went to learn it once. And then when we got to the line, hey, what's in this drink? We were like, okay,
and he doesn't answer?
No, let's do a different song. That's not okay.
Have you thought about this, Dad?
No, I mean, I need to go read the lyrics.
Well, if you go listen to it, it's the duet, and it's a woman basically who's trying to leave. And at first the guy says, "No, it's cold outside. You don't want to leave." And then she keeps trying to leave. And at one point, I think he pulls her in closer, and then he says, "Let me make you a drink." And she asks, like LJ said, "What's in this drink?" And he doesn't answer. And then he tries to pull her in again. And then she says something like, I forget. It's basically a woman the whole time pleading that she needs to leave and that she can't stay. And it's a man going, no, you're not leaving. Like he grabs her.
And always traditionally in this like really imposing deep voice, baby, it's cold outside.
I mean, it's wild. Go listen to it. And I never really thought about it.
I'll have to go listen to it.
I know a fun fact about that song. You want to hear a fun fact about that one? That was written as a way to get people to leave Christmas parties. You just start playing that at the end of the party and people just start kind of like filtering out. There's always like these songs that like I keep in mind to like, you know, if I need somebody to like clear the room, I'll play these songs that people don't really care for or whatever. Well, that's what that song was originally made for, was to clear the house after a house party.
Huh.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. Look it up.
Let's see. I'm trying to
so start playing like Michael Bublé at 12.
Well, it's like you're having like,
5.
you're having this like jamming party or whatever, and you're listening to like some really good music, and then all of a sudden this like really cheesy and now we recognize a little bit rapey song comes over the speakers, and you're like, all right, party's over. I get you. All right.
In one of at one point in the song, the woman says, "I ought to say no, sir." And then he responds, "Mind if I come in closer?" And she responds, at least I'm going to say that I tried. And then he says, what's the sense in hurting my pride? And she says, I really can't stay. And he says, baby, don't hold out. And then both together they say, oh, but it's cold outside. So this woman is trying her damnedest to get out of here. And the man's not letting her. Now, this was written in 1941. I'm sure the people that wrote it didn't have any intention of this being that, but I think we see it in a different lens in today's day and age. When
I think you change the background music and it feels very different. Like I'll experiment. I think maybe me and Hannah can try to write it in a different key and see if it sounds as bad as it feels.
And I did see that there's this obviously has been redone 10 times over, and different people, like you said, Michael Bublé has done it a few times. And there's one, a couple did it, and I hate that I don't have who did it, but they put, when the person says, I've got to go and get away, there's a voice that says, all right, afterward. Like, it's not just completely dismissing the fact that this woman wants to leave. At least it says like you can leave if you so choose. But it's just wild. And then that's what that got me to my whole Christmas music thought. And I still enjoy the song. I didn't realize that's what I should play to get people to leave. Once again, LJ just drops that random fact.
Well, it doesn't work anymore. People love that song. Like that's a fantastically written musically song.
And now
it's just fun.
And now for me, you, and for both of you, and then anyone else, when they hear that song, like I used to kind of get in a good mood. Like I think, or like last week, we're over at Mom's house for the holidays, and I know right after Thanksgiving, Mom's always ready to put on the Christmas music. So I also put it on. I put it on 4, just hooked up to the little Bose and played it. And that song's going to come on next time, and I'm going to go, oh, and feel a little different about it than before. I just sang along to it, didn't think anything of it. It's just a little interesting. Just stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
I got to go listen to it now. Yeah. Jeez, listen to it again.
And that gets us to, I'll go right over to you, LJ, to start out, since you teased us at the beginning. What we're listening to. Do you have a Christmas music theme to yours?
I do. So I don't know if you've heard it, Kevin. I don't think that you've heard it, but Chance the Rapper has a couple of albums on SoundCloud. They're not actually on Spotify, so
the one with
you
Jeremiah,
gotta kind of find them elsewhere. But it's called Merry Christmas, Little Mama, and it's featuring Jeremiah and a handful of other people. And there's actually a disc 2 that came out last year, so he's done 2 Christmas albums in 2 years. Kind of hoping another one gets dropped in the next couple weeks, but they're really fun, really good Christmas songs, holiday songs. They're just like, they make you feel warm, but they also like have a cool sort of hip hoppy vibe. They're new. It just doesn't feel like you've listened to Mariah Carey for 800 times this year. If you don't some new stuff.
Mariah Carey is awesome now. I am with you though. It does get old at times. Yeah. I have heard the same Mariah Carey stuff, and I love that Chance the Rapper Christmas album. But I feel like Chance the Rapper could do anything over a beat, and I'd probably enjoy it. I just really enjoy his music. Dad, what about you? What do you got?
Now, are we talking Christmas music, or is that what we're talking right now?
Well, that's not what mine's going to be, but LJ teased it. He's wearing a Santa Claus hat right now, so
okay. So are we doing what we're listening to right now? Then
yes, what we're listening to.
Well, then I do have a Christmas one to suggest, but it won't be today. We'll do that a little closer to Christmas, and it'll be
That's a real tease.
It's a traditional good Christmas stuff.
Since we're teaching, that is what you call a deep tease.
Deep tease.
Deep tease, baby. That's teasing you out a few weeks. All right. So, Pops, what have you been listening to while you've been golfing and doing all kinds of other stuff at the river?
While I've been golfing and boating this weekend. Today, it was a little cold early, so I had to run around and find a place to put the boat in. And so as I was driving around, guys, it was just a third eye blind day. That's what it was. It was just third eye blind.
Any day can be a third eye blind day.
Just put it on and excuse the pun, but just press play. And I just let it go. And it was so good. And mainly the one with Semi Charmed Life, mainly that album. But Blue is an underrated album, is a very good album. And it made me, here's what it got to me. So I listened, the background came on early. The background came on in about song 3 in. And I'm telling you, LJ put me on that, but he put me on that too at a time that there was quite literally someone kind of in that I knew was going to be in my background. Yeah. I knew this person would be in my background. Now, literally, this person didn't die, which I think is what's going on in the song. That's the image I get from the song. But I don't know. It just really hit me. And then, sorry, I don't know if there's no real big climactic talk to that, but what is the little bit of music after the end of the background? They do like a reprise. Is that what you call that, LJ?
Yeah, not really, because that would be. I don't know exactly what the term for that is, to be honest.
Well, they
with
do
you.
that
I think
on
it's
Wasted Time, on the Eagles' Wasted Time, which is another great song. They do it. They call it a reprise, I believe, and it's kind of horns and orchestral sound. But I don't know what that is. A little part
is that
after
the right way
song.
to say that?
I don't know.
Orchestral?
I think so.
Is that the?
Yeah.
I've never heard that word before.
how would you say?
I don't know.
Orchestral?
I've never heard. No, I've never heard. I've heard of an orchestra, but I've never heard of orchestral. I've just that word's never been said around me. I don't think.
I mean, the reason I know it is
that's the word.
Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark or something. Isn't that a group?
I think so. Yeah.
That's where I kind of learned it. So, all right. Sorry, anticlimactic. It was Third Eye Blind Day. That's what it was.
No, dude. Straight up. Great.
It was a
great choice.
Great choice. Yeah. All day.
So for what we're listening to, it kind of started. A hint of it started last week, like I mentioned during the holidays. I told you I was kind of in charge. Well, I don't know if anyone put me in charge. I just kind of took charge of the speaker, and maybe some people were rolling their eyes. But after we got through with some Christmas music, I started playing just some other stuff. And because I know Mom's a big fan of some good old funk music, I put on a few funk songs. And I know this is how in a minute I'm going to ask. I need you to do something for me, Dad. Maybe a collab with you and LJ. But so I had a little that I played a little bit of those, and now that taste was on my tongue, and I just needed some more funk, like a whole funk thing. And I was trying to find a playlist. I couldn't find a playlist I just loved on Spotify. I will say I ran across a few songs that I want to mention that, Dad, you can put on the site. But first, I want to throw out Curtis Mayfield and Pusher Man. Oh, that song! Yeah. That song was
Curtis
that was
Mayfield.
Banging.
That's real.
Then the Commodores with Brick House. That's just a dad classic. I mean, I remember Pops putting that on the truck back when I don't know how long, barely walking. Then Cool in the Gang, Funky Stuff. A little James Brown, Get Up, Sex Machine. All right. And then KC and the Sunshine Band with Get Down Tonight. Those were the four that I remember that I played. But here's what I need. I need Pops and maybe LJ. We need a funk playlist. I remember you had that CD back in the day. We need a better one,
yeah.
Right. You had that CD back in the day that had, I forget who it was, but it was a guy. It was
Pure Funk.
When I think of funk, it was Pure Funk Volume 1 and 2, or so, like a 2-disc CD.
1-800-555.
K-Tel Records, Pure Funk, baby.
I need a playlist, as you said earlier. I need a playlist I can just hit the button on, just press it and just let it go. And we need some of those on there because I was grooving.
I was putting together that now mythical On the Road with Dad playlist, and back
there's
when I was
a few
doing
on
that,
there.
I was looking for some funk playlist to kind of draw some inspiration from. And yeah, you're right. There's it feels maybe we've got like a really like specific vision of funk music. Like we've got a particular 18 B-sides or something that we always want to hear and nobody else even listens to. But yeah, we gotta remake that. We gotta figure out the right way to listen to some funk playlists.
And I just think there's got to be some people out there that I've probably heard and don't know the name of. Like I got on a little roll playing some Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield can jam.
Curtis Mayfield
you can mess up and get stuck there for a couple hours.
Yes,
and there's something about some good funk that, like, I had my headphones on. I was sitting here. Actually, I had the game on yesterday on Saturday. I had some football on, and I was just sitting at the house. I put on my headphones. I just wanted to listen to some stuff, and I didn't care for the commentary going on. They were about as bad as the Monday Night Football at one point. So I turned it off, just put my headphones on, and you can't help, like, your shoulders start bouncing a little bit. You kind of want to snap. I mean, funk just has some way of getting in you. It just starts making you move a little bit.
Yeah.
That's probably why Mom likes it so much. I know Mom likes to do some dancing. That's probably why she likes some funk, because you just can't help but get a little bit of movement when some good Curtis Mayfield comes on.
Well, challenge accepted, young son. We will come up with a funk playlist. As a matter of fact, if you look on Spotify, I've got one kind of started. It's got a little Parliament on it.
I thought you might. I almost looked.
I've got one started with just a few artists. So, but we'll get that fixed up. And
that's not a want. That's a need. That needs to be in my life. I need to have that saved and downloaded onto my phone just in case I get through a bad strip in Arkansas. I can just throw it on.
All right. Challenge accepted. We'll do that.
All right. Well, I think that will about wrap us up. Oh, real quick, guys. I need to confess, I was at a low point in life the other day, and we had talked about this before, and I thought I needed it. I put some chapstick on my lips, and now I can't freaking stop. I mean, my lips feel terrible right now just because I put some damn chapstick on the other night.
Kevin, I have a confession to make too.
Oh, no.
Yes. So after you talked about it, I don't know if it was just like what is that when you keep hearing something that makes you think you need it? All of a sudden, my lips were cracking dry.
Oh, no.
They just like they were so dry, and it was cold down here. And so I've started using it, and it's like dope. Now I cannot quit using it.
I stood strong for like 2 weeks because LJ told us, just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't
And
do it.
I sit here. And I live in a colder, drier area. I had one bad day. I persisted, and I'm fine.
I was fine for like 2 weeks. And then I don't know what day it was. Thursday night, I come home and I'm like, Dad, I felt like my lips were just so dry. And I thought, here, I'll just put on. And then, of course, I just look over and right on the counter, like someone said it there, there's a little thing of soft lips sitting there. And I was like, ooh, I was like, that's the vanilla kind. Like it was even turned to where I could see it was soft lips vanilla. And I was like, and so I thought, I
think I need some right now. Oh my God.
I felt like a man with an addiction problem. I saw it was like, I'm just going to put just a little bit on my lips and I'll feel good for the night.
Oh, no.
And now I can't, it's in my pocket everywhere I go.
Oh, guys.
Sorry, it's true.
Man.
Did the same thing.
You tried to warn us, LJ, and it was a weak moment, and now, as I said, I'm stuck, and that chapstick's going to be in my pocket at all times, and I'm probably going to have to stop at an Easy Mart and pick up some cheap chapstick at one point because it's like crack. That crack stick, my lips it's addicted, and I can't stop putting it on. It's ridiculous.
Kevin, not that I advocate using that stuff, but if you are going to use that stuff, it seems like that Soft Lips brand or Burt's Beeswax seem to be the better ones to me. If I'm not advocating using this stuff, but if you must.
See, I don't know. Maybe the thinking is you go because those sell really well. So maybe that they've got the addictive things built into them. Maybe you look for whichever chapstick gets used the least, whichever makes the least amount of money. That might be the one to go for because they actually make the stuff where it's like use it once and throw it away.
I'm telling you, I don't know what like that soft lips. It makes my lips feel so good, but I swear they're way more chapped than they were before I put it on, and now I have to use it.
I bet there's some. What's the word, Dad? Desiccants? Is that?
That is a word.
They absorb the moisture from your lips.
Yeah, I remember that. There could be desiccants in there.
I don't know. Either way, we're going to have to wrap up this episode because now I need some damn chapstick and my lips feel, and the more we talk about it, the more cracks that keep appearing.
I know. I'm dry. I'm real dry now.
I feel great.
Do you guys have anything else y'all want to add in before we get out of here?
Go Broncos.
All right,
No,
the
we're watching a
Broncos
football game tonight. So
before we head out, the Broncos are in the playoff hunt. The Cowboys somehow could host a playoff game. Who would have thunk it? I'm sure we'll have all the thoughts in the world coming in a couple of days.
Yeah, we'll get on that, no doubt.
Oh, they're reeling. Dad, they're reeling me in.
Thing.
Oh,
this is that tease you gave like 2 weeks ago.
We'll tell you on Tuesday, but me and LJ were having a conversation, and it's working exactly how I predicted, and they're gonna do it. The Clapper's he's gonna get an extension. It's happening, but we'll get into that on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for this week's episode.
You did see, just real quick, did you see McCarthy got fired?
Yep. Aaron Rodgers. Yep. Aaron Rodgers is a happy man tonight. He's gonna go make him a glass of scotch.
More on Tuesday. That's just a little tease. We'll talk about that more on Tuesday.
All right, boys. It was fun. It seems like it's been forever. I was glad we got to get back on, and we'll be back in just a couple days with another episode. All right.
Sounds good. Peace, y'all.
Peace out. Subscribe. Don't forget. Subscribe on your cousin's account, too.
MyBookie.
What did we used to do? Remember we'd always have a good and a bad or a best of the week.
Which we still could do. That took up we would end up taking up 20 minutes doing the best and worst, and then especially now while we're doing a shorter Sunday, that's and it was Dad's golf segment of the week.
It's golf again.
Well, that's why I thought I had something to kind of talk about. I played golf with Jim and David and Tammy. And we just had the best time. I mean, it was sunshiny. It was 70.